way more powerful than your standard command prompt that you have on your computer, right? So you can use it to complete tasks within any Microsoft 365 services or even Azure, across Microsoft services. Everything we do from the portal at the back end or at the background, there's actually some scripts or shell that are happening, that are running at the background. It's just that we are not seeing it, but that's actually what is happening. So moving on, right? If we look at who are the people that uses the PowerShell, there are people like you, the IT professional, who use you can use PowerShell, for instance. Let's say I'm sitting down on my PC or in front of my PC right now. I want to shut down a computer that is remotely, maybe I'm at home right now, and I know there's a computer in the office in our data center, right, that is running, and then I want to shut it down remotely. I can actually use PowerShell to send command, a shutdown command to that computer right from my own computer. Right. That's the way it works. So IT professional can use it to automate tasks. They can use it to manage remote machine, like I said, shut down machine remotely. And you can even use it to configure or to manage what we call infrastructure as a code. A situation where you put, or if you want to create a virtual machine, you want to create an account, you want to create a user mailbox in Office 365, you can actually create your script down and store them in a particular location. So you are managing code like infrastructure. So you will put all the settings you want in that code and save it somewhere. So anytime you want to perform that task, all you need to do is to call up that code from within your PowerShell, and it will perform all the tasks based on the parameters or settings that you have put in that code file that you have saved, right? Now, when it comes to Microsoft 365, administrator will use PowerShell to do things, in a more faster way. Instead of, like I said, instead of you clicking through, if you recall, when we wanted to create a mailbox, we have to go to Microsoft 365 Center, Admin Center, create a user, and then while you create user, there's next before you get to where you assign license to the user. Then you click next until you finish. So instead of clicking those mouse clicking, PowerShell allow you to do something very fast, at a very fast level. Then help you to manage users or manage many users or mailboxes at once. Since we are talking about Exchange Online, let's we will be talking in the context of managing mailboxes, right? So you can imagine if you have like hundreds of employees or about 50 employees that just resume, and you need to create mailboxes for them. Instead of you going to the portal and creating the users one after the other, although at the portal or in the portal, that's the admin center, right? You can also do multiple account creation, but you'll be putting the information one after the other. Or you can use Excel, but PowerShell allow you to be able to create multiple mailboxes at once, or assign licenses to multiple users at once, or perform a task that affects more than one person within the environment. And that particular action will affect all the users or all the objects that you have performed that task on. So if I would say again, just look at your PowerShell as a remote, it's like pressing a remote button on your TV remote, or your TV remote control, which is in turn controlling your television, right? So that's majorly what PowerShell is and how you use it. Now, uh, for you to use PowerShell, right, you have to set up your computer for PowerShell scripting, or you have to set up your computer with PowerShell, right? And then the good news is that every computer or every operating system, that's Microsoft operating system, automatically come with PowerShell pre-installed in it. Now, there are different versions. There might be situations where you need to run certain commands, and those commands are no longer available in the version which your operating system has. So in that case, you might need to either update your PowerShell or that's update it. So which means you have to download the latest version of PowerShell from Microsoft site and then install it so that you can run that particular command that you want to run. But by default, every operating system comes with a copy of PowerShell pre-installed on that machine. And then so now if you run your PowerShell, most of the time it was made mention yesterday that for you to run certain commands, right, it's advisable you run your PowerShell with administrative privilege. So if you need to run your PowerShell, you have two options by which to run it. One is to just click your start button and or press the Windows key on your keyboard plus R letter on your keyboard, and it will open a mini window for you that is called run. So in that run window, you type PowerShell.exe and you will hit enter and it will open for you this way. Now, the other way to open PowerShell, we will show you later. The other way to open PowerShell is for you to kind of go to start, press your start button, and then on the search bar, type PowerShell, and then you can click to open, or you right click and say open as administrator so that you can have admin privilege or have the PowerShell run in admin privilege. For those of us that were not following yesterday or that got lost along the way, when you open PowerShell on your PC, this is what it look like, right? It is so my own. By the time I open my own, you might not see blue color, you might see black background. That's because I've changed it. But this is what PowerShell look like, the native one that comes with Windows. So moving on now, when you are for you to use PowerShell, right? PowerShell is allowing you, what you are doing is you are running commands, and like I said, it's like you are connecting to the computer kernel itself. So which means there have to be some level of precaution when you are running your command so that you do not run commands that will affect the entire computer and probably crash the machine or do what you do not want it to do, right? So by default, Microsoft implements some safety features that allow you or prevent you rather from running just any command or any script. So before you can run scripts, right, you have to uh, permit or you have to alter what we call the policy. So this safety feature is like a policy that is configured to prevent you from just running any script. And this is for security purpose, apart from you running command that you might not trust or that you do not really understand what it's doing. If an hacker get access to your PC, for instance, they can actually run commands since if they know that your PowerShell, if they're able to confirm that your PowerShell can run commands, so they can actually run scripts that can take over your computer, and from there it takes over maybe your network like that. So to prevent that, Microsoft implement this safety feature called execution policy. You remember yesterday, one of the commands that you were told to run was set execution policy. So I'm just trying to give you insight to why you have to run that. It's because there's a policy that is created by Microsoft that will prevent you from running any script on your computer via the PowerShell. So now, for when you set this policy, right, you can set it at different levels. You can set it to affect the entire computer. So if you say the entire local computer, it means irrespective of the user that log into that machine, the policy you have set will affect that user. But if you say current user, it means it's only your profile that is going to be affecting. So if you have set, for instance, let's pick one of these um, policy. If you have set your PowerShell to be able, the execution policy to be restricted, for instance, for a current user, automatically, if another user log in, they will not see restricted. Whatever they have before is what will still be applying to them. So you can set it at different level. I just wanted you to understand that. But then the default policy that is set on all Windows computer is the default policy that is set for Windows operating, that is the client operating system, for instance, is restricted, right? It's restricted. And what restricted means is that no scripts may be run. That means we might not be able to run scripts at all. So for you to be able to run scripts, you have to change this policy to any of these other options that we have here. So there are 4 policies, like I've said. The first one is restricted policy, and it means you will not be able to run scripts. The second one is all signed. So all signed means every script that has been signed with some form of certificate and is trusted by whoever created it, or a trusted developer or a trusted authority out there, you will be able to run such script if you set it to this. And there's the one they call remote sign. This is a policy called remote sign. What this means is that you can run the script or your own script. You can create your own script and run them, or run scripts that are created and signed by other trusted developers, right? That's this one say all signed. It means whatever script you are running must be signed and must be trusted. While the remote signs mean you can create your own, which means when you create your own, it's not signed, but then you trust it. So you are allowed to run it. And then you can run scripts that are created by other people or other developers that you trust, and you can run it. Then there is this unrestricted policy. The unrestricted policy allow you to run, and it's not stopping you from doing anything. So it gives you the full access to be able to run whatever script or commands that you want to run. It will allow you to actually do that. So now, how do we now configure this policy, considering that we said the default policy that is set is restricted? So if you need to connect now to Exchange Online, for instance, you need to change your execution policy. You need to change it from restricted to any of these other options. But what we'll be changing it to at the end of the day is going to be remote signed, so that we can, if we create our own script, we'll be able to run it, and then we can run other script from trusted script writers. Right now, how can I check? How can I confirm the policy that I have configured currently? I have told you that the default is restricted. But this screen that I'm giving you right now has already been changed to unrestricted. So to check the current policy that is set, what you need to do is to type get iPhone execution policy, and you hit enter on your keyboard, and it's going to give you the result. You will see it when we get to that practical aspect of it. So now there is this policy is set differently from is different from Linux and Mac operating system. So by default, Linux and Mac, they have their own share or kernel mode as well. They have their command line, but you have to install PowerShell if you want to run PowerShell on either Linux or Mac PC. You have to manually install PowerShell on them. But the default execution policy that is set for those two is unrestricted. By default, it is unrestricted. If you notice that on Linux, you can run any command. Linux is open and will give you access to run whatever command you want to. So the default policy for PowerShell on Linux and Mac is set to unrestricted. But in Windows, what you will see if you have not altered it before is going to be restricted. Now, if you have met restricted, we need to change it, like we have said. To change it, all we need to do, instead of get execution policy, we'll get to the point where we have to explain how this command comes to be, or how you form your command, how you combine the wordings together. We'll get there. So to change it is you have to type set execution policy. That's using this set execution policy. It does it, yeah. Set hyphen execution policy. Then the execution policy you want to set it to is what? Remote sign, right? So you can either just type it like this, or you add a parameter that say the execution policy, but you will see it in a bit, right? So just be patient, okay? So now moving on, because we talked about it yesterday, take so much time on it, right? So now there is structure, or PowerShell. The commands have structure, right? You might be hearing maybe at some point you hear command, the other time you hear commandlet, right? Commandlet, if you hear it, is just a shortcut for commandlet. That's this PowerShell commandlet is or CMD-let. You will see something CMD, just CMD-let. It's called commandlet. Now, those commands, they have structure, and they are in form of what we call verb noun structure, right? Verb noun structure. Where the verb, like your normal English, English, what's it called? Now, normal English, right? When it comes to noun, you know what noun is. Noun can be a name of person, animal, place, or things, right? So anything, the command combination is mostly verb and noun. A verb is an action word. The verb part will always be telling the PowerShell what to do, right? It will say do something. Then the noun aspect is telling it what it's supposed to act on, what it should be doing, right? That's why they call it a verb noun structure command like, right? So now if I use verb, like I said, verb is telling the PowerShell what to do. While noun, on the other hand, is telling the PowerShell what you are doing it to. So I'm saying, I say I want to cook. Then the next thing is, what do I want to cook? What am I cooking? Rice or whatever is it I want to cook. That is what the noun is. And when you're running your PowerShell, there is or you see some of the examples that I have here. You have get. You look at the translation or interpretation of get is to perform an action. Get is performing an action. Then get what? Get help. Get help. Set something, meaning to set mean either to put some things together, to create something, or to form something. Then what are you setting? You want to set an item. You want to set an account. We'll get to see some of those examples. Then you say start. Start what? Start is to begin or about to commence a task. Then what are you starting? You want to start a service. You want to start a particular service. Or we want to stop. Stopping what? A process. A process that is currently running, we want to stop it. So these are a few examples of PowerShell commands, right? If we take it now to Microsoft 365 environment, this is an example of a command. Get MSOL user. MSOL user. MSOL here means Microsoft PowerShell, Microsoft Online Services. A minute, please.
I need to check. Let me check something. Okay. Sorry. I think my audio just caught my attention. Something wrong with the audio. It's not showing all the. I'm not seeing all my audio devices here. Hello, can somebody speak? Joseph. Hi, Joseph.
Your audio is very fine. Your audio is cool.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so let me continue from where I stopped. So I said, for instance, right, we'll have a command here that is saying get MSOL user. MSOL user, we have said it that the get here is the verb and MSOL user is the noun. What is he saying? He's saying retrieve the command is retrieving the users or all users in Microsoft 365 environment. So MSOL mean Microsoft Online Services. That's what it means. Then users, as Microsoft Online Services user. So uh, uh okay. So this is like if you run this command now, right? Is just like asking, like you are asking the PowerShell to show all the list of user. If I run this command, get MSOL user, I'm asking PowerShell to show all the list of users that exist in that particular Microsoft 365 organization. That's what I'm saying. So now there is a third part of the command that is called parameter, right? That is called parameter. The parameters are the parameters, right? They provide extra details. Like the first command said, this one now, let's use this as an example. New MSOL user. Then the next thing I put hyphen user principal name. Then I put the email address of this user. Then hyphen display name. What is the display name of the user? John Doe. John Doe. So now, this is our verb here, and this is our noun. Additional parameter that is not telling it, I want to create a user, but what are the details of the user that I want to create? Make his email address and his logon name. Make it john.doe at school.com. And I'm also saying set his display name, set it to John Doe. So what parameters are doing is to add additional detail or to make the command you're running, make it more specific. Make it more specific for PowerShell to know exactly, instead of like the other time we said, get MSOL user. We didn't tell it which user to get. So PowerShell will go and get all the users in our environment. You can imagine if we have thousands of users in that environment, it will retrieve all like that. And that can take some time before that command return to say it has finished, before it finished running. So if you add extra parameter, you can ask extra parameter to say which user is it that you want to get from Microsoft 365, and you will put that detail and it will bring that user out for you. So parameters are, a simple way to tell PowerShell to be more specific on the task you are asking it to perform, right? Now, if you look at here, we have the command, this command, for instance, this command that we have here, new MSO user. We are asking it, the verb there is new. We are telling the PowerShell to create something new. To create something new. And then what is that something? Create a user object in the Office 365 environment or Microsoft 365 environment. Now, user principal name, that is our parameter. We are saying what should be either the logon name or the email address of the user. The username or email address for the new user should be john.doe@domain.com. Then further, we want it to have a display name so that when we retrieve that account, or when we retrieve this user, or we are looking at our admin center and we see this user, we'll see a display name with it. So how the user names appear to others is this John Doe. So when you send a mail, you will see John Doe. That's just this command that is here. This is, what it is telling PowerShell, or what it means at the other side. So I hope we are following. And then now in PowerShell, right, there are key terms, key terms that you need to on the basic level, right, that you need to be aware of. We have already made mention of some of them. So the first one here is CMD-let. CMD-let is full pronunciation is command-let. Command-let, and it's a PowerShell command. It's like a shortcut for command, and it is pronounced, or it's being pronounced as command-let. So if I say command-let, let's see, there's a pen. That's command, full command. Just like if you go to your computer, your C, sorry, I mean you click your start button and you type. The moment you type CMD, it will bring it and say command prompt. You see command prompt. So this one too is command let, just let, right? It's that simple. Then we have verb there. Like I've said again, the verb is the action that PowerShell is taking. Action that PowerShell is taking is the verb, right? And example of this, we have the get, to get something, like you want to get something from your fridge. We have the new, you want to go and buy a new cloth or new something, create something new in the environment. You have the set, set up your computer. You just purchase it newly and you need to set it up. And you have things like remove as well. So just like you can create by using new, you can also use the remove keyword, right? You can use remove keyword to also remove an object from Microsoft 365 through the PowerShell command. And then the noun, the nouns are the things PowerShell is acting on, like a user, a mailbox, or a file. And parameter, like we said, is adding extra detail. So look at this. Take PowerShell, take it like a chef that want to cook. Now, cooking is the action word. he wants to cook. What is he cooking? You're asking it to cook pasta, or you ask a chef to cook pasta. The thing being acted on by the verb, right? And then, is it just to cook pasta? Is it white pasta? What kind of pasta do you want? Jollof pasta, pasta with stew, white pasta with stew, or how do you want it? That is now the extra parameter. Add tomato sauce, add pepper, add this, add that. Those are the additional parameter that you are adding. So now you are being more specific with regard to what you want. Now, when it comes to managing Exchange Online with PowerShell, right? At least now that we understand the bits or a bit of PowerShell in terms of definition and how the commands are formed using verb, noun, and the parameter. When it comes to managing Exchange Online with PowerShell, we can use it to do things like creating a mailbox. We can use it to set permission. Every single thing that we did in our last class last week, we can actually use PowerShell to achieve it. Create a mailbox, assign licenses, create user, assign permission, even send email. If you want to, maybe you are trying to test email, Mailflow or something, you can actually run from PowerShell, send the email to somebody, and they will get it in their box, right? And we have said it, the reason why administrators use PowerShell is because it's faster and it's more efficient. Faster and more efficient, and you can use it to do bulk task, to perform task in bulk, right? Against performing it on one object at a time, right? So anything you do to all of those user or user group is going to affect everybody all at once. Okay. So now, to install PowerShell, for those of us that are yet to install, right? Or to install, to connect to Exchange Online, you have to install PowerShell module, not PowerShell now. We say PowerShell is already installed with your PC. So, but to connect to Exchange Online, you must install PowerShell module on your computer for Exchange Online. Every service in Microsoft 365 have their own corresponding PowerShell module. So if you want to connect to Azure AD, for instance, you have to install module for Azure AD or Entra ID. If you want to connect to SharePoint, you have to install module for PowerShell module for SharePoint. You want to connect to Exchange like we want to do it now, you have to install your Exchange Online PowerShell module. These modules are a way to extend the capability of the default PowerShell or the standard PowerShell that is on your computer. So your computer does not have all the commands to manage cloud services. In order for you to manage cloud services, this PowerShell module will bring or download the module and save a copy of those cloud commands. It will save it on your computer and you can call them up from PowerShell to perform action. So here are the steps. The first thing you need to do after you have installed your PowerShell or update it to the latest version, that is so that you don't have any issue, right? The first thing you need to do after that is to install your PowerShell Online module or your Exchange Online PowerShell module. After you install it, you have to call it up by loading that the commands, the module. You load the module in your PowerShell session. When you open a PowerShell and you load a particular module, once you close that PowerShell window, the module is unloaded. So it will be off. Any command you have run will be off. So if you need to run further command again, you have to reload the module again. So that's the way it works. So when you load the module on a particular session, that session remains, or the module remains on that session until you move to or until you close that particular PowerShell session. So after you load the module, then the next thing you need to do is to connect to Exchange Online. That's you connect and authenticate, just like you will go to your portal to go and to sign in as admin or an account that have some form of admin role. The same way you will connect to PowerShell and authenticate. It will prompt you for username and password. Then after you connect, you have to confirm that you are actually in the PowerShell Online, in the Exchange Online PowerShell environment by running command or in your tenant. So you run a command to retrieve a data from your tenant, and once you get response or successful response from that confirmation command, then you are sure that you can start performing your task. And finally, after you have done with all that you need to do, it is best practice that you disconnect from that PowerShell session so that you can free up the session for either another user or another task that you want to do. So we'll be sharing. I'll be sharing the URL with us for those of us that does not have it and have not installed, as we were following yesterday. Like I said, the first thing you need to do is to install or update your PowerShell itself, the PowerShell itself. If your own is not updated, the latest version now is 7.4. Is 7.4. So you can use this to get the package from online and install it. After you've installed it, if you have PowerShell open before, you have to close it and then reopen it. Now, when you are reopening it, you need to ensure that you open it in admin or with admin privilege. Open the PowerShell with admin privilege so that you can be able to run commands that might require administrative right for you to run. And now, the third thing you need to do is to now install the module itself. So for you to install the module, you must have internet access on your computer. The PowerShell will go to the internet, download the appropriate module, and then it will install it on your computer. And this is the command to install the module. See again, what are we doing? This install is performing an action. Install what? A module, right? And then the name of the module, these are additional parameter. The name of the module is Exchange Online Management Module, is what we want to install. And then we're allowing what we call pre-release. So it will look for the latest version of the module and install for you. That's what this particular command is telling your computer to do. And then once we have been able to install the PowerShell finish, the next thing, like I said, is to load the module. And how do we load the module? We have to import. We're going to import what? Import module. Which module? Exchange Online Management module that we just installed. We will load the commands. What we are doing is to load all Exchange Online Management commands into the current PowerShell session where we are working. And after we have done that, we need to connect to Exchange Online. There are different ways, or there are two ways to connect. One is if you have multi-factor authentication enabled on the account that you are going to be using. And the other one, if you do not have, right? So, and then I think depending on the version of your PowerShell, right, this might work for whether you have MFA or you don't have MFA. So just in case I'm running mine, you're like, why did you run this one? I don't have, you don't have MFA. So you can work in both ways. But just in case you run one and it's not working, try the other one. If you have MFA, install, enable for the account that you are using to connect. And once you connect to the Exchange Online environment finish, the moment you run this command, the command is connect Exchange Online. Then I'm putting parameter. We connect with this user, admin@domain.com. Then it will prompt you to enter your username and password. And once you are done, it will tell you whether it's successful or not. Then next step is to now confirm if you are connected. To confirm, you can either type get mailbox or get Exchange Online mailbox. And it's going to give you the list of all the mailboxes that you have in Exchange Online. That tells you that now you are in your tenant and you can start other tasks that you might have. So now there are times you are running commands and then errors are popping up, right? If errors are popping up, it's it happens, once in a while it happens. Things can go wrong. And then all you just need to do is to check very well. Some of the issue that you might encounter will be PowerShell is not able to connect to Exchange Online. If this happens, one, ensure that you have internet access on your computer. And two, ensure that you are entering the right credential. And not just the right credential, but credential of an account that has some form of or Exchange Online admin to the tenant that you are trying to connect to. You can also have a situation where the commands are not working. What you do is to confirm that the command you are trying to run exists, and then the syntax or the parameter you are using, they are called syntax now, that is correct, right? In most time, when you run the commands are run, you will see red. Your screen, everything, that PowerShell will just be red. And the important thing is, or the good news about it is, most of the time, the solution is already in the error that is being popped. So you just need to take time to read what the PowerShell is saying or the error is saying, and you will see the solution right there in somewhere in the middle of that error. Okay, so if we look at an example where you forgot to connect to Exchange Online, for instance, just open PowerShell, and the next thing you want to start running Exchange Online PowerShell. You will not even see the command. It will just be telling you the command window does not recognize that command, or the command does not exist, kind of. That's because you've not connected to the environment where that command is acceptable, or probably you've not loaded the module that you're supposed to load that allow you to connect to the environment. So quickly, let us see that's, let's see. Okay. Hopefully this my PC here. So hopefully I've not installed it already on it. To try and see. I type the right password. Okay. Oh, okay, that's good. So what we want to do now is to see, first we can see how we let me open PowerShell. I said to open PowerShell, one is you can either press the R key, Windows plus R key on your Window plus R. If you press Windows key plus R, you will see this window, this pop-up, right, that says run, called run. So you can type PowerShell.exe and hit enter. But now the problem with this is going to load it in a standard way. It's not going to load it as admin for me. So open it as admin. I'll just go to my start button, start, then type PowerShell. Now the PowerShell I want to use, will have used the standard one, or I want to use the PowerShell eyes. So this allow you to be able to see the command, or even see some of the command that you want to run. It will be giving you option. So now that you're just learning, you can use that, so it's easier for you. So I'm going to run it as administrator. Okay. I remember this password. Okay. Just a minute. Let me get password for that account. A moment, please.
So it's like the administrator is not correctly spelled. There is a D in place of S.
Oh,
You may want to check that also.
yes. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So, all right, so I have this PowerShell ISE. You can see it has loaded some command for us here. So you can easily have a kind of open book kind of to see the commands that you want to run. Okay, I'm supposed to have. Okay, so you might have it like this if yours is not so. If it's not showing, just go to view and then you see show script pane. Okay, so you can I can either just type direct inside or you can type here and then you run. But we just go in here. So what we want to do first is to I want to check the execution policy that we have here. Then as you start typing, that's the beauty of ICE. That's PowerShell ISE. It's going to bring it for you. So if I hit enter, you see right now, this is the default restricted. So this is a good example for us. So for us to run our shell, let's just quickly we'll set the execution policy, set it to remote sign. You can use tab. Once you give you option, you use tab to complete it. If I say I can either put execution policy. Okay, sorry. Remote sign. Just remote signed and hit enter. Okay.
So you may want to check. You typed in get, not set.
Oh, I need my glasses. Okay, set. All right. So, okay. So now it's asking if we want to set it, whether we trust it, script that we want to run. We just say yes, because we know what we want to do. Say yes to all, and it has set it. So if you will run it again, you can use your arrow up or down to go back to command you ran before. Then I'll just type get execution policy again so that I can show us the policy. Okay, now we have it set to remote sign. Is it visible? I don't know if I can increase this. Let me see.
I think under view, you should go to. Can you check view?
Yeah, I'm on view.
There's zoom in down below. Zoom out rather.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's zoom in that we need to do.
Okay.
Zoom in, yes. Just keep doing that.
Is it better?
Yeah, we can still add one more zoom in. Okay, I think it's better now, please.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So that's it. So just like I said, if you run a command and probably the syntax you use are wrong, right? You see, I'm running get execution policy instead of set. You can see get execution policy cannot bind parameter scope, cannot convert remote sign to type. So already that's unable to match the identifier. So the error, the solution already is in the error. The solution is in the error because I'm supposed to set it and it's saying get. So I can just look closely what's going on. Oh, maybe I've typed wrong thing. And there is it. I will see it. So that's simply how to confirm your execution policy, and then how to alter it if you have to. So now moving on, right? I can the next thing we want to do, let me open I have my command kit here. I will share with you guys later. Just put it here. So the next thing we want to do is to install online, the Exchange Online PowerShell module. And then to install the module, I'll just copy it. Same command I showed you the other time. Install module, install -module. What module? The name of the module, Exchange Online Management. And I want the latest release. Then I will hit enter. So it will take some time. A parameter cannot be found. A parameter cannot be found that matches this name, this, okay? And this is what it's referring to. So no problem. We just do this. Let's remove it for now. And I will hit enter. And it's going to take some time. So you want to download what we call PowerShell nuggets. So I'll just say yes. Let's see. You can also install using force, right? But let's just go yes. If you give any error, then we'll rerun the command and tell it to forcefully install it. So what it's doing is going online to go and download that package and install for us. So I'll say why that is going on, because it's going to take some time, right? We'll come back here. Has it finished? Okay, still running. Okay. Package, install package, no match was found. Specify search criteria and module name. Exchange Online. Try get repository to see all available modules. Get repository. But if it's giving us trouble, I'm just going to use the one that I already have, PS repository. Because this guy should be able to go to the internet. It's supposed to. It's not able to find repository. That's strange. That's strange. So I'll fix this later because it's going to take time for me to start troubleshooting it. But like I said, you see the message, the error is already, the solution is already in the message, but it might just take time. So what I'm going to do is to bring up a PowerShell that might already have that module. Okay, so I have this guy here. Font, to increase the font. Okay, so this is already installed, yeah, but let me just try to install and see. Same way we're trying to do the other time, but it's already installed. Currently, right click, enter. Yes, I think I did. Okay, so because it's already installed, that's why he brought this. It will have just either tell me that you will see the progress like you did the other time. So what we want to do now to confirm also that it's already installed, we want to load the PowerShell module, the Exchange Online PowerShell module to this current session by using import module Exchange Online Management. Then we have imported it. So to know if can start, we can do get mailbox. Oh, sorry, I need to connect first. Let's connect to the environment. That's to Exchange Online. So now to connect, I'm going to use this command next. Okay, connect-exchange online. User connect with this user, tt@thedomain.com, and I hit enter. So now it's going to prompt me to type in my username and password, or my password, yes, credential for that account that I just put in there. So you see, it has already picked the account that I want to use. So I'll just give it a password. If the password is a long one, let me get it, just copy. And we say connect. So we are in. Yes. So you will see it will return something like this for you. That's to tell you that you are in already. But just to also confirm or to further confirm that we are in the tenant, we will just run the command to get mailbox, for instance. Sugar. Get mailbox. Okay. Can type that. Get mailbox. Right? And then one thing is, once the command, because we've loaded the command, I've typed get mail. If I tap my tab button, it will complete it. So if you are tapping your tab button and it's not completing, then that command does not exist or is missing. So that's another way to know if you loaded the right module. So here, these are the list of mailboxes that I have in my current tenant, right? All these users. So that's simply how to connect. We have confirmed that we can connect. The next thing is we want to quickly create a mailbox. Okay. Now to create a mailbox, I have my command as well. I'll just create one single mailbox. I have one here. I don't have this user existing before. If you notice, I have one user I want to create here called John Doe. You notice on this list, there is no one like John Doe. So what am I doing? Creating a mailbox. The name of the mailbox is John Doe. The email address of that mailbox and the username is going to be john.doe@the-domain. Then I'm putting a password. I can create it without a password. It will create password for me automatically. But I'm setting a password by myself. And normally you cannot just type password in plain text. So it's going to fail. So what you would do is to convert the password, convert it to a the PowerShell is going to convert it to a secure string, and then it's going to now send it to the system. So the password is not sent in plain text. And I want to force it. First to create the account. Then what will be the first name? First name is John, and the last name is Doe. So we hit enter. Okay, a positional parameter. A mailbox cannot be found that matches parameter user principal name. Okay, let's see. Do I? Except I will use, let me check another command before I start troubleshooting this now. Okay, just give me a moment. Let's see. Okay, nothing like user principal name. Yeah. Let me see. I think I'll use another command parameter. Wait, where did I put that one? Somewhere. Just a moment. Sorry, wait some seconds. Use this. Okay. I'll just see if it can take, that will be John.do. So just change the, okay, let's see if it will go this time. Reach out to use. Command is correct. Okay. Has not returned yet. So if I'm having issue here, okay, all right. So finally, I will just remove all the additional parameter that I put so that it can allow us to pass, right? So now this is just a single user that I've created. And what if we now have multiple users that we need to create, right? So I need to quickly update my command with this parameter. Quickly update them, please. Two, three. Okay. So the moment I want to create now, I want to create multiple accounts or multiple mailboxes at once. So this is to create multiple mailboxes at once. I pasted for 3 users, and what it does, it created them one after the other. You can also save all of this information. You can create an Excel file, right? Put all the information of all the users, like that 100 users that you need to create, the new employee that just came in. You put all of them in the Excel, all the parameters with the heading. So your heading will have things like they have things like this first name, last name, mailbox, whatever the heading is, and then you will now call it from your command, to do all that you want to do, to create those accounts. So you can do that as well. But just to tell you that, you see how quickly we just paste the command once, and in less than how many seconds, the mailboxes are already created. And then for us to confirm that these mailboxes has been created, right, we can just hit get mailbox, and you can see the mailboxes on the list. We have John Doe, we have Jane Smith, and we still have Sarah. Sarah is here, and Tom Lee, right? These are the 4 mailboxes that we just created using PowerShell in no time, okay? So that's how fast you can actually use PowerShell to achieve whatever is it you want to achieve instead of clicking through the graphical user interface in the portal. So the other thing I want to quickly do is, just like we can create a mailbox, we can also assign permissions to users. Like you have a situation where you have people, maybe a colleague that want to cover for another person, or like I said in our last class, that a user left, a salesperson left, and another salesperson is coming in to take over. In order for this user to continue to respond to email of the exited salesperson, you have to give access to the new salesperson to be able to. So in this case now, we want to assign full mailbox permission um, to a user. So we are going to give John Doe, we'll give John Doe full mailbox access to Sarah's mailbox, right? So I'm going to copy my command again, and I will try to interpret it. Okay, now let me copy it full, copy. Yeah. What's going on? Okay, smart PC. Let me add. So now we'll use add mailbox permission. Add mailbox permission. And then here we'll specify identity. The identity here is the mailbox we want a user to have permission to. That's now the person they call, that's the owner, the mailbox owner, which is Sarah. Siri is going to paste this time. Sarah, okay, paste. Sarah@domain.com. Then we are going to specify user. What does the user mean here? User mean the trustee. So this person, the user here, field is referring to the trustee. The person will want to give access to another user's mailbox, which is John. What type of access can do iPhone access rights? Access rights. What type of access do we want to give? We want to give full access. Full access, and we hit enter. And automatically, this user, John, will have access to manage Sarah's mailbox, be Sarah's email. So that's, simple how to use PowerShell. There are a lot of things you can do with PowerShell, but we'll stop there today. I said, after you've completed all that you want to do, always remember to do what? To disconnect from the PowerShell session. So to disconnect is very simple as well. We're just going to run disconnect Exchange Online. Remember, up here, we connected using connect Exchange Online. So we just type disconnect Exchange Online and we hit enter. And it's going to ask you if you are sure you want to disconnect, and we say yes to all, which is A, and hit enter. So we have completed and we have logged out from the PowerShell online module. So now let's quickly see, let me see if I log in already to the portal here. So that you can see those users also. I'm going to open the browser. I'm going to which account is okay, good. Portal.office.com. So what we just want to check is we want to see the user and we want to check the permission on John Doe of John Doe from Sarah's mailbox. So if it loads, I'll show you, but it seems to be slow right now. So now, while this is loading, if we can come back later, we'll come back to it. Let's kind of move on. Okay, so the next is Mailflow. I want to quickly talk about Mailflow. And as much as possible, the Mailflow really, what is doing is specifying or is kind of laying a path of how the email gets moved from one person sending the email to another person who is receiving the email. Specifically in Exchange Online, right? That is our area of focus. So I will try as much as possible to break it down. We are not going to go deep into this, but it's okay if you have an understanding of how email move from mailboxes or inbox to inbox, right? So we'll talk a bit about what Mailflow are, how emails are sent and received in Exchange Online, and the parts that help email to move from one place to the other, and also some of the basic issues that you should, or common issues that you should watch out for. If they come up, you can be able to resolve them. So Mailflow is just, let me say, it's just a fancy way of saying how email moves, how it moves, right? Imagine sending a letter in a mail, it goes through different steps before reaching the person you are sending it to, right? So Mailflow really is analyzing or laying down the path an email take to get to or from one person to another. And then when you send an email, it travels through different systems to reach the destination. I will show you some diagram if it can help to kind of visualize what we are trying to talk about, right? And then Exchange Online Messages manages the process in a secure and organized way, right? And then moving on, right? So this Mailflow, when a user, let's say a user that is sitting down on the internet, send an email to you, Exchange Online, the mail goes straight. Before he go, he gets to the internet and he make a request on the internet DNS, asking through the MS record, asking for the mail exchanger record of the recipient server, right? Once the internet is able to provide that, your server is then able to send that email to the internet server. In this case now, we assume the recipient is Office 365 or Microsoft 365 as well. Now, the first service that received the email is called the Exchange Online Protection. The Exchange Online Protection received the mail. He filtered the mail. When we mean filter, it will check the email. Does it contain any form of malware? Does it contain any antiviral, any form of virus? Does it contain any corrupted information and all of that? If they pass, if the mail is clean, you then move to, okay, is there any form of rule that is created in the environment that says if a mail, maybe if it's coming for this social person, send it to this place, or if at all the mail contain virus, where should we send it to? Should we send it to the user's junk folder, or should we quarantine the email? Now, if the mail there is what we call spam filter, and the spam filter, there is what we call probable spam and suspected spam and probable spam, right? When it is suspected to be spam, you still send it to the user, but the user you send it to the junk folder of the user. If you notice, if you go to your mailbox, you have inbox, you have outbox, you have sent item, you have other folder, then you have a folder called junk folder. So any email that the Exchange server does not trust, you send it into that folder. But if it is a mail that it is categorical, it has checked from all the check and all the analysis, this email is definitely a spam mail. What it does is, instead of sending it to your junk or your inbox, it quarantines the message. But this quarantine does not just work, except there's a rule that has been created that any of such email should be quarantined, just in case an administrator can go to it later to check whether that email is truly spam or not. In case user is requesting for it and they trusted the person which is coming from, then the administrator can release it. So once Exchange Online Protection confirm that the email is secure to be released to the user, it passes it to the Exchange Online server back. And the Exchange Online server drop the message in the recipient's mailbox, that's in the mailbox of the user or of the receiver of that message. Now, this is also showing that in case the email was sent to junk, but then the mail is not spam or is not junk, it's legitimate, a user can actually report it. This is where this report comes in. A user can actually report it by giving either false positive or false negative feedback, so that the content filter keep that in mind and keep that email address in mind for subsequent email filtering. So these are just the steps here. User send email. The email goes through Exchange Online transport services, right? The transport services, anti-spam services, check it and confirm. Now, the message is checked within the Exchange Online protection, and once it's checked and is free of spam and any risk or threat, if the email is free of spam or it passes all check, then it is routed to the recipient mailbox, and the recipient or the receiver can now open the email and consume the content or the information of that particular email, right? That's simply how may flow. Now, for this to be for this process to go smoothly, there are key components that make Mayflow in or email from one recipient, from one sender to another sender or another recipient to flow freely within Exchange Online, right? One is the sender's email. There's always a sender's address, which is the email address, and that is where the process starts. Now, when a user sends an email, whether they are using Outlook or they are using their browser or they are using mobile client, right, to send the email, it gets to Exchange Online. Now, Exchange Online is the server. It's like the middleman that receives the email from the user and processes or send it to further other server like this filtering server to further process before it finally get delivered or you make decision on where to send the email, right? Now, once Exchange Online receive the mail, it send it to the spam policy or Exchange Online protection, who check the information, check it whether it's free of virus and spam and everything. If it is free and everything, the next thing is to check if the recipient is within that environment or is outside the environment. If the recipient is within the environment, it uses the user account in Active Directory to locate the mailbox of the user, the server that is hosting the mailbox of that user. Once it finds the mailbox of the user, then it deliver it in the inbox of the user, right? Then there can be other time where you need to create certain connectors. Maybe when you receive, maybe you have connectivity with your business partner. So if you want to be able to route emails securely to your business partner, for instance, you can use connectors in in Exchange Online. Connector is another component. You can create connector to help you route emails either to external partner or to other systems like Gmail or Yahoo outside of your Microsoft 365 environment. So this is how these are the key components or components that make up the email flow in Exchange Online. Moving on, right? Sending and receiving emails, really what happened. I think that's still what I've just explained. This is just like a further kind of explanation, right? Let's say you are sending an email. The moment you hit send in your from your as you draft the mail in your inbox, the moment you hit send, again, it goes to Exchange Online, right? From the user, it goes to Exchange Online. Then Exchange Online then it's then processed it and determine the routes for that email to take to get to the destination where it is going. So, say for instance, if we have, let's say we have you are in Exchange Online, and the recipient you are sending it to, they are also in Exchange Online. That is where I said, if a mail is internal, the mail does not go outside of your own environment. But if it is external, then Exchange Online need to determine where to send that email. And the route it takes or what it uses to send the email now to the destination server is this transport service, Exchange Online Transport Service. The Exchange Online Transport Service will manage the transport. That's transportation is like a means, just like you will take a bus from one bus stop to another until you get to your destination. Or you can take a plane to, if you are going somewhere, you can decide to take a plane, you can decide to take Okada, that's motorbike, you can decide to take a ride bicycle, you can decide to take a walk, or you can decide to take a private car like Uber to the destination. You might be taking different routes to get to where you are going, and even different transportation means to get to where you are going, but you will still get to your destination. That is exactly what Exchange Transport Service does. It helps to find a path to the destination and send through the right means of destination and transportation to the user. Then the email gets delivered in the recipient's inbox, right? Now, when it comes to internal email, let's say it's now an external person that is sending mail, somebody that is not within your organization is sending mail to you. When you send mail, the same process as it happened from your own environment will happen at their side as well. But then it will leave their side, then come to your side, your server will receive it, and then process it, check it for spam, check it for virus, check it for malware, check it for corrupted attachment, save links that are saved or not saved or malicious, and he have the capability of stripping out or removing unsafe content depending on configuration, and then sending you just the body of the email right to you, and it get delivered in your inbox, right? So moving on, why is Mailflow? Why is it important really? Right, one importance of Mailflow is security. From all that we have been saying, recall when a user clicks send, the moment he hits the send button, the email, there's a process. If you are observant, right? The moment you click a new mail that you are trying to draft a mail, if you close that email or you even go into your draft folder, you will see the mail there in the draft folder. But the moment you click it, it goes away from the draft folder into the outbox folder to queue. Now, from the outbox folder, you can still see all of this at your end from your client. From the outbox folder, once the mail has left your PC or your client, you will see a copy of that email in your sent item. This shows that the email has left your computer, right? Now, the server receive it and do all the checks that you need to check, and then go to deliver it in the inbox of the user. So all of those security checks is very important to ensure that the emails are free of spam and viruses, right? Another thing is to ensure reliability, making sure that email are sent as they are sent, they are not altered, and they are delivered properly, and you can consume it. If the email is not treated well, by the time you want to open it, you might see a message that says the content is corrupt. You cannot open, or something happened. So all of those things is what Exchange is checking to ensure there is a form of reliability with the message that are being delivered to you and that they are delivered properly. And the third one is efficiency, right? It helps to move email quickly through systems. Like the example of if you are sending a mail to somebody who is not within your organization, it means that email have to hit your own Exchange Online server, and Exchange Online server will then look for how it's going to send it to the destination. So it helps to route email or move email quickly between systems, right? From one system to another. Now, there can be issue when it comes to mail flow. There can be times or things can go wrong, and there can be times where you send an email and the mail never gets to the destination, right? Sometimes it happens, and sometimes things are just working perfectly. Other times they are not perfect, right? So let's say, for example, you sent an email to a user, or a user sent a mail to you, and then you trust the user, the email is legitimate. However, the system marked it as a spam, but it's not a spam, but system has already marked it as a spam. So that is a case of negative false positive. False positive is a situation whereby something that is not true or something is seen, email is seen, let me just stick to email. Email is seen as bad when it is actually not bad. That is false positive. And false negative is when bad emails come into your inbox instead of them being quarantined. That is false negative. So there can be those situations, right? Those are some of the issues that can happen. So in such case, you have to release the email and report it that it is not junk or it is not spam, so that subsequently it can get delivered directly in your box. Other instance can be situation of mail delay. Mail delay can happen where a server, the email server of the destination recipient is having issue. They're having one issue or the other. When you send the mail will take some time before it get delivered. You might even take days, like 3 days, and you will be seeing mail that there's a delay. You maybe the next day or the third day, you see there's a delay for this, your email, it has not been delivered. So the problem might be either at the recipient end or at your own end. So it can happen, both ways. And it can be a case of wrong email address. Now, this is very obvious. If you type wrong email address and you send the email will go out, but it will come back to you later and say the email address of this user does not exist at the domain server where you have sent it to, the recipient domain. They will see the email, but because they don't have such user or such email address in their system, they will send you a response that the user does not exist in their environment. So that will cause you to kind of check or recheck that the email address you type is correct. We also have a situation of blocked domains, right? Blocked domains happen as a result of spam or unsolicited emails or bulk email or spoofed emails, right? So this is a situation whereby maybe you have been sending an email to an environment, or someone has been sending email to your environment, some users in your environment, and the mail usually come, or the things they send, the content they send doesn't make sense most of the time. People have already blocked it. They have categorized it as spam. Or you as the administrator have gone into Exchange Online to go and add a domain as not saved. So, or as not being saved, right? So in that case, if there's a need now for somebody, a legitimate email to come from that domain, you will not receive it because the domain has already been blocked. So in that case, you will have to unblock it by going to your anti-spam policy or transport rule and then go and unblock the particular domain. So these are common issues that you can, that you might see as you continue with Exchange Online, right? So this is just a kind of a little mini test to see how Mailflow works, right, in Exchange Online. And then what we are going to do is to log into an email, send a mail, and we'll go to message trace. We did a little bit of tracing the last time. So we'll do a message trace. From there, you'll be able to see how email is flowing. I think this will be the last thing we'll talk about. We'll not have time to talk about Exchange Online protection today. From what I'm seeing, time has gone. So let me just password again. Okay. Let me open Outlook for this guy. Yes, my center. Look. So the other time we wanted to see the permission that we set. I will just use the opportunity to show you as well. So now I have my Outlook here for this user. We have a lot of email. We even have this one that we can quickly trace and see, how it moves, for instance. But I'll just quickly send an email, a text mail from a user to this environment. The email address is tt at at 9:56. So I'm sending an email to it. But what I want to do is to go to message trace and go and see how this email, the path that this email took is, where's this? Okay. So here we are on Exchange Admin Center. We'll go to Mailflow. Under the Mailflow, we'll go to message trace, right? And from here is the email I sent. I've just come in. That's Mailflow at 9:56 p.m. So I want to see. Okay. So now I want to start a trace, right? The recipient is going to be TT at, okay, this is the recipient. And then today, let's just say anyone. I'll click search. Live edit all today. Oh, so, this time.
So I think your start date, Titi, look at your start date.
Start date is 18, so it's supposed to still bring something. Let me just do today.
But what are you testing? Is it receive?
The receive mail,
Okay.
email to this.
Okay. Okay, I've seen it. What time did you put? Okay.
I put
Exactly.
today from 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Send report. We'll try again. Okay. What is going on? Okay, let me see the let's see the default message trace. All right. Let's make use of this. Okay. Now, this is even maybe a good example. This email is coming from learn@emails.microsoft.com and it's coming to this user. Right. If I click, I'm going to click the email. Now you can see it said the mail was received by the server, processed, and delivered. So Exchange Online received it. Anti-spam service check all the threats and viruses and spam and everything. Because it is saved, you deliver it in the user's mailbox. But let's see. So message events. The first thing here is this is our server. This Exchange server, Exchange Online server. It received the message from the sender, right? Then after receiving the message, there's a check and everything. After the check is saved, then you send it. The message was successfully delivered. This is not giving me so much information.
Okay. Do you want to use the analyzer? Maybe you use the Exchange Analyzer and copy the header from your email that came in instead.
Email, yeah. View message in Explorer. Okay, let me. Going to go to setting.
The dots within the email, the dots within the email itself, not that one.
Yeah.
One
Sorry,
over here.
Thank you. Show message view. Yes. View message detail. We can copy this. I remember the URL, just search for it. Okay. Chem header. That's Exchange Online header analyzer. So I've copied the content of the header just now. Once it loads. Let's paste it there. Okay. I'm going to insert my header here. Say analyze. Oh, great. So now, see the email. The subject of the email is test at.
I think if you increase your font, zoom out, please. Zoom out a bit.
Okay, zoom out. Can drag this. Okay. Okay, so here is the subject of the email. This is even the mail I sent. Here is the subject of the mail and the message ID. This is useful for you to trace if you want to maybe run PowerShell command or something, or you want to block it. Then from who? From Titilope at Hashem, and then to an account in this tenant. So if we scroll down, receive header, take notes. The hub is the different bus stop it gets to before it gets to the final destination. Now this Outlook that received this, it may get to the Exchange Online server, right? And it was submitted to Exchange Online. The same, if you notice, is the same server. the same server received it at this time, and he moved, still the same server, submitted it. It's still within, this is still within Exchange Online, and this is a different server here. Now, this is Exchange server now handed it over to the anti-spam, who did a form of setting, right? A form, a check on it. And then, oh, sorry. This is from the source. This is the sender. The sender send, as he click send from Outlook, he hit the Exchange Online server, because this user is also on Exchange Online. He hit the Exchange Online server. The Exchange Online server check, and the check, he handed it over to anti-spam. After anti-spam check, he find out there's a rule. This another server outside of Exchange Online. There's a rule that is allowing it to apply what is a server is. Because this server, the exclaimer apply signature finish, it's brought it back again to the anti-spam server, and the anti-spam server take the mail and send it back to the Exchange server. Now, the Exchange server, now within Office 365 still, you now send it out and send it. Now, this from here now is the recipient side, still on Exchange server. If you see, every time you see this, is on Microsoft 365 server, then that it receive it and send it to his own internal, that's this mailbox now, the server that is responsible for it, send it to his own anti-spam server also, to also check for any form of viruses or spam. After this anti-spam server have checked it, he send it back to the Exchange server, who received it, and then locate, this still the Exchange server, this guy send it to this guy. Then he locates the user's mailbox. The user mailbox is finally hosted on this server. He said, you notice the servers are changing. So these are the parts that email took to get to the destination. So you can see that a lot of things were happening at the background just by you just clicking send, and then you see the email in the other mailbox. You don't know what happened. So there's a lot that was happening at the background. This email now took up to 10 parts to get to the final destination, which is the user's inbox. So that's simply how you will trace a message to see the path it took from source to the destination. Okay, so thank you all. The final one that I just wanted to show you was the mailbox of this user, who is John Doe and Sarah. Loading. All right, so I'm just going to search for Sarah. We will go to properties of Sarah and we go to delegation. You see, read and full access. Remember, it's full access we assign. One person have full access to this mailbox. If we edit it, John Doe have full access to Sarah's mailbox. So you see that what we did in PowerShell is reflecting even on the GUI. And that brings us to the end of the session today. Let me see, do we have questions? Okay. So Joseph and Rafiah.
I'm
Joseph,
here,
you are
please.
speaking. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
I'm here. Yes. Thank
All
you
right.
very much for all that you have done today. That was able to demystify all that was done yesterday, and there is an extension to further show how Exchange Online works and how emails travel. So I sincerely appreciate you, and I know from the emojis flying on the screen that everyone also appreciates how much you have been able to do today. So it's a productive weekend for us already, and I'm just trying to see if there are questions on the charts. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
so there's one here. I'm trying to, it's a long one. Try to
Yeah,
read it.
I see that also.
Don't want to
So
be
actually, somebody is asking
complimented.
what is the effect of not disconnecting from PowerShell session? I think we can start with that.
Okay, so the reason it's important for you to disconnect from PowerShell session, remember in one of our call, we talked about somebody asked a question of how many users can connect, right? So there is limited number of sessions that you can do to Microsoft 365 service, which is total of 5. Now, if you connect using PowerShell and you did not disconnect, and that means that session is still active, although it is set by default, it's supposed to disconnect after 15 minutes. It will automatically disconnect you. But it's always best practice so that you can immediately free up that session, that slot for another person to use, just in case there's any somebody else need to use, or you have more than 5 people that are trying to connect to PowerShare at the same time. So that's the effect, the reason why you should disconnect it.
All right, thank you very much. So I will just take the next question here quickly. It's saying in this series of checking of the exchange policy, does the user have a role to play on setting the parameter of where the mail will be delivered to? Did you get that question?
Uh,
I'll just take it
okay, I
again.
think this in this series, does the user have a role to play on setting the parameter of where the server of where the mail will be delivered to? The only role the user need to play is, that's the sender, is to put in the right receiver address, that's the recipient address. That's the only role you need to play. Outside that, everything happen behind the scene, right? You don't see
Okay,
what's happening. Yes, MJ
Titi,
want to
let me
help
help
us.
you. Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
if what the person is asking is what I'm thinking, so I think if the person is asking if he needs in terms of probably maybe determining the path where your mail will go to, especially if you want to set parameters in saying that specific mails should go through a specific connector. If that is what I'm thinking, I use the word if that is what the person is asking.
Okay.
Then what you need to know is that those parameters can only be set by somebody with an Exchange administrator privilege. You, as an ordinary user, you can actually not do any of those settings. Those are settings that someone at the back end that is an Exchange administrator will be able to do it himself, or someone that has a global admin on the tenant and then will be able to do that. But you, as an individual user, you may not be able to do any of such other than say you send your bill. So if I think that is what you are asking, but I think we can unmute people now in case they want to throw more light to what their questions are.
Okay.
All right. So while we're trying to unmute people, there is a question. There are a series of questions here, but I feel that it's better if this person goes back to practice and get response to some of the basic things that he or she is probably asking. But the first one here is saying if PowerShell is case sensitive.
No,
Mm,
no,
mhm.
no.
Yeah.
No, PowerShell is not case sensitive, so you can type your PowerShell. It's not.
Okay, so
Okay.
the other question
Thank you,
was
Mark.
how you did what you did. So I feel that that person could just go back and try it out. Um, okay, so this is saying, just let me check. We may not be able to take everything. So, but I want to unmute everyone now. Let's see if allow microphone. All right. So,
So
okay,
I will
so we
also be
can.
dropping links to support answers, probably maybe I'm giving, so that that person can also check it up in case they wants to refer to it. Mm?
Okay, so we all now have mics, so you can unmute and give context to your question if you feel that there was a misunderstanding of what you are trying to pass across. Your mic is active.
Okay, let me pick on. Somebody said, I don't understand the positive and negative feedback. So remember I talked about a situation where email is scanned by the anti-spam filter. And then the anti-spam filter feel, oh, this email is suspicious. And it send the mail to the junk folder of the user. Now the user sees the email is a legitimate email. In fact, it's a mail they've been waiting for. So what the user can do, he can report that email to not be spam. So once you report the email to not be spam, so which means the Exchange server or the Exchange Online protection that scan the email, Exchange spam filter that scan the email has categorized that email is, if you look at it, categorize it as a spam. Meanwhile, it is not spam. So it is false positive from the server's end. The server sees it as positive spam, but user is saying no, it is not spam. So it's false positive. That's where it is. Then a situation where something is truly spam, but the server sees it as being safe, then that is false negative. That's where false positive and false negative come from. I hope I'm
Okay,
able to explain it to you.
thank you. So in K in Came Jika, please, your hand is up. You can go ahead and unmute your microphone. Okay,
If I
so if that's
am
okay,
I
go ahead with
audible?
Kim. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So sorry, I'm the one that asked that question. I just needed the clarity because I already tried using the same command prompts or commands, and it wasn't working the way it was working for her. That was why I asked. So what I was asking was, is it
Confirm that
that
you can add.
sorry, can
Go
I go
ahead,
on?
please. Yeah, please
Yes,
Okay.
go
go on.
ahead.
Yeah.
I noticed when you were trying to create that new mailbox, you entered several parameters. You entered name, you entered user principal name, you entered password. So I wanted to know how you were separating them. Did you type the parameter, then use a space bar, and then like you type name, use a space bar, and then type the name of the user, then type under space bar? Like I didn't really get what you were doing. I think it's because you copied out the whole command and just pasted. So I want to know if I'm typing it myself, what do I like? Am I using space in between all of them?
Okay, so when you have, I'm sharing my screen back. For
Yes, ma'am.
instance, I'm picking that of the first one, which is
You see,
John Doe.
can you increase the font also of the power so that they can see? Maybe you
Okay.
increase the size.
I'm taking it to the maximum, but I've already, let me see if I can
Okay.
type
You
it
see, I
over.
just I just I just dropped the command with the spaces just the way it's supposed to be. So I think she can pick it up there. and see where
Maybe
the
you put
space
it
is.
in a notepad. Yes, in a notepad, and then copy this
I
and
just
put in a notepad.
I just
Okay.
dropped that. I just dropped that
Yeah,
for. So you can please
I've
go
seen
check
it.
the last post on the. I mean, yeah, in the message, so that we
Okay,
can
okay,
move on.
thank you. I see what you posted. So
Yeah,
so
please.
Okay.
it means that there is some space there before the hyphen.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. The only
Okay,
one that does
okay.
not have space before the hyphen is the first
New mailbox.
new mailbox does not have hyphen. The hyphen is joined together with the verb and the noun are joined together.
So the others
Okay,
are space. Yeah. Okay. So you can take note of that.
okay,
All right.
ma. Then
So
please, my
just
last question is okay.
go ahead in game.
Okay. So I wanted to ask, how did you enter? You created like three new mailboxes at once, either three or
Mm.
two or three at once. So how did you do it? Did you have to enter their parameters? Like, did you enter name and then you just enter all the names of the users, enter user principal name, enter all their names, or did you do it one by one for each of them and then press enter? I didn't get that.
So in my command, what I did is I typed the commands one by one for the user. Let
Okay.
me show it here. Just a line. A line is representing for one
Yes.
user. One line per user. One line. Just like if you take your Excel and you want to fill information for a user, everything about one user will be on a single row, right? So it's
Yeah.
the same thing
Yes.
that apply. Yes. So
Okay.
I just copied everything like this and paste.
And just pasted. Okay, but
Yes.
for that same
But
command prompt.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, ma.
but it will execute it one after the other, even
But
if
it
you
will
copy
execute one
some of
after,
them.
if you recall, yes. If you recall
Yeah.
that he first created Jane, then he created Tom, then he created Sarah. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. So thank
So
you, Kim. MJ. Yes.
yeah, I'm just going to share for some of us. I'm actually looking for that one that is like a video, but I'll share for in the meantime for some of us if you want to actually learn about PowerShell scripting on Microsoft Learn. So I'm going to share this the learn resource with you guys so you can go through that. I'll also look for the ones that have the video, and then that you can go through that at your own space. It's actually very important, to be honest. You can't be an M365 administrator and just rely on GUI alone. At one point, at one point in your journey, you need to know how to use the PowerShell. So I will tell you not to discard the learning. I will look also for that video where you can actually learn. But in the meantime, just go through the resources for you to be able to learn.
All right.
All right
Thank you,
then.
MJ.
Yes. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead,
Okay,
So
please.
so
so
finally, thank you, ma'am. Finally, this is the final question we'll treat. Somebody is asking what's the difference between CMD, that's command line interface, and PowerShell command. And can you use CMD to run same script as PowerShell? The thing is, there are some commands, not all commands work in command prompt, but most command work in PowerShell. So you can also elevate, that's promote your command prompt to be a PowerShell. But there are certain commands that they will tell you specifically where to run from, because commands prompt cannot be used to run them. So I hope I'm able to answer
Okay.
your question.
yeah.
Yeah, Titi,
Please.
let me throw more light on that. Okay, there was one person that asked the question on MS DOS and whether it's the same thing as PowerShell and all of that. So I think that person that asked the question actually was trying to look whether it's like us and old school, because MS DOS, we know where it all started from. So it's like more of like an independent kind of operating system where Just like you have an operating system these days that you have a GUI. For what we've been doing, your normal Windows is you have a GUI interface that is a graphical user interface. But when you talk about MS-DOS, all you do through it is that you run commands. So if any of you has ever come through what we call like a server call, if you have ever heard of anything about Windows Server Call, that's like something that can give you a little bit of idea of what MS-DOS is. Now, when you talk about command prompt, it comes from that same underlying concept of MS-DOS, really, where you only give instruction to computers with a set of codes or command where you interact with the computer by giving it instructions with code. But it is an old version compared to PowerShell. So PowerShell, I would say it is more like the modern version of command prompts, just like what Titi has said. Now, you can elevate your command prompt quite all right to be PowerShell. But one thing about PowerShell, which is very, very straightforward, is that you can even interact with it. So the easiest way for you to learn PowerShell, even if you don't know, which you cannot achieve with a command prompt, is that you can use the PowerShell ISC, that is the integrated scripting enhancement interface, so to say, from PowerShell. I don't know whether you can bring that up for them. Now, if you use that interface, you can actually use that one to something that can be, if you're a developer, but I don't want to go into that, that can even give you suggested kind of syntax or parameters you can use with your PowerShell. So you have the ordinary PowerShell, which Titi has made use of, and you still have the one that is ISE. If you right click your PowerShell on your taskbar, you will see an option that gives you the ones with ISE, and that one comes up. You can actually interact with it. So there is, you see what it is like. It is the same PowerShell. But this one, what is good about it is that it can give you suggestion. It can help you it can give you something like, it's called like a filler to completing your what they call it, your codes or your commandlets. Let me use the right word, your commandlets. So command prompt and PowerShell, if I'm to use it in a very layman, I would say command prompt is like the old version of giving computers instruction, but PowerShell is more like the modern version. So if you look at this the PowerShell, the ISC, when you're typing command and don't even understand it, immediately you press, you can give you suggestion for you to complete it. And let me help you somewhere. When you're typing a command, and even if you forgot, maybe you don't know how to, just press your tab. You will see all of the syntax you can use with that command. Like I said, hopefully, maybe before we finish this, if we have the time, maybe we can take you guys on PowerShell. But if not, the resources that we're sending to you, you can actually watch that and then get familiar on how to use PowerShell. So that's just what I want to add. I hope that helps. Yes, Titi, please take on and go on with your conversation.
Okay, so Titi, please, we have Enel Bong Johnson having his hand or a hand up, as the case may be. Please, Enel Bong, go ahead and unmute your mic so you can ask your question quickly. We are 30 minutes behind schedule already.
Sorry for keeping us, and thank you, Titi, for the session. I have a question regarding to non-delivery report. So, is it possible for a recipient to receive a mail where you actually receive a non-delivery report of that email not being delivered to the recipient's mailbox?
Okay. So, Titi, please hold on. Please hold on.
Okay.
Chibuna, Joe, please ask your question so she can just combine them. Please unmute your mic.
All
Chibuna,
right,
Joe.
thank you, ma'am, for today's class. I can hear you, sir.
All right, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. My question was based on what I asked before in that security stuff and so I was trying to ask, does the user now, like I've seen in for instance in my Gmail, when you get a message like I have part like important, I have a update, I have a promotion on that. Is it the user that does that, or it is the administrators that will now channel those messages to different parts where they will go? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll come back to the NDR. For that, no. Your mailbox by default, right? What it has some default folders that has already been created. I'll come back to Gmail. You have the inbox. By default, is not administrator is not the one creating it. It has been designed. It's designed by the system, right? Or that's how as they wrote the code, that's how it's designed. To have your inbox folder, a folder for inbox, a folder for outbox, a folder for some other things. So you have some default folders that has been created as they are developing the app, right? Or the application. But you on your own can actually create additional folders where certain emails will be going to. For instance, if you want all my email, any email that come from Titilope, for instance, to be in a single location, then you have to create a folder. Now, when you create a folder, mail will not just be moving there by itself or automatically. You have to now create what they call inbox rule. So that inbox rule, you configure it to say anytime any mail come from Titi, it will go into the folder that you have created for Titi. So subsequently, if Titi send email, automatically my mail will go into the folder you have created for me, because there's a rule that is affecting the email as it gets into your inbox, right? Now, for the case of Gmail, it is also designed by Gmail developer to separate folders. What they did is just a filter. They created a filter for you, and they are able to identify emails that are for marketing, emails that are promotional, emails that are important. They actually created it for you. So it's not an administrator that created it. And you can decide to merge some folders together, but certain folders cannot be merged. In the case of inbox, cannot be merged with sent item, cannot be merged with outbox. But in the like of Gmail, you can actually decide to merge your those other additional extra filter that they created that is called important mail, promotional mail. You can decide to merge all of that together. So it's not an administrator, but a user himself can create it. However, you can, if a rule, an administrator can also help to create an inbox rule, but from the back end side, right? But majorly it's the user that is responsible for that. I hope maybe that is clear for you now. Now, for is it possible to receive an NDR, that's non-delivery notification, when the recipient has actually received the mail? It might be in rare cases, but I've not witnessed that before. Most of the time, I get NDR for email that are not delivered, not the ones that have been delivered. However, you can get a situation where users will tell you they are not receiving your email, but it's possible that they have created some rules that is moving the mail to another folder. Because if you go to Exchange Online, you trace, and the trace is telling you it has been delivered. Sometimes it's going to tell you the folder where it delivered the mail to. So you can easily go back to the user and say, check a particular folder, the mail is there. The person might have created the rule without remembering or without realizing it. So, but it's rare. I've not seen it before where I will get an NDR for email that has been delivered.
Okay, so thank you very much. We can't take any further questions because tomorrow is Monday and lots of people are going to work. So thank you very much for the detailed explanations and response to questions, TT and MJ. We'll be calling it a wrap here. So I hope you find time to go and study the materials that are shared with you, watch the videos that were shared with you, come back to this video and try to watch it. Remember, what I learn, what I see, I forget. What I do, I know. So if you don't do it, you will not know it. You can remember, but you have to do it before you know what was done. And if you have questions, please reach out. We are available to respond to your questions. So I hope you have a wonderful and fruitful week ahead. Thank you very much, guys. Good night from here.
Bye, everyone. Please, Joseph, they said you should share it on WhatsApp. Probably, maybe, when they leave, they lose access to the chat window. I think that's the reason. So all
Okay,
of the
so
links, we should share it on WhatsApp for them.
all right, I'll do that now. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, bye.